What's harder, getting into college or navigating the stress surrounding it? It's not only about the deadlines and the college essays, it's also about managing the family expectations from us. Today, I'm joined by four students who are right in the middle of it. They have applied to colleges and all of them have got a lot of offers, still waiting for some offers to come. But it's a very interesting time, very uncertain, definitely. That's why it brings in so much of stress because it's not only about the essays and deadlines, it's about the stress that it creates on us as a family. So today we're here to understand what has prompted us to take the decisions on the kind of colleges or the courses that we've chosen, but also how do we think that we can make it a better process for us as families? How can we bridge that communication gap which brings in so much of stress between students and parents? So if you're a parent who's supporting their child through this journey, or you're a student who's navigating this process in the coming few years, this is for you. So let's start with you, Arpita. Tell me about yourself. What are your interests and what do you want to pursue in college?
My name is Advika and I just graduated in November from the IB diploma. Most of my interests include biology, film, music, and taekwondo. And I've applied, and that's what I plan to pursue further. I plan to pursue biology with a minor in film studies.
Great, great. Sayori.
My name is Sayori, and I've also recently graduated. My interests, hobbies, I love to spend time with my friends. And in university, I'm thinking of pursuing engineering or mathematics.
Lovely, lovely. And two of our friends are online with us. So let's go on to Om first. Om, tell us.
Yeah, hi, I'm Om. So I also graduated last November from ACS International's IB diploma program, and I enjoy economics. I enjoy music. I enjoy like sports, exercise. I enjoy um, all those things, and I hope to pursue economics or finance at university. And so I've applied to those related courses.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you, Om. And we go on to David.
My name is David. I also graduated in 2024 in the same court as the three other students, and I'm interested in studying economics in the future. In my free time, I like to run, I like to go to the gym, and I also enjoy music.
Lovely. So I think we have varied interests among us today. And now I'm interested to know because, the world is open to you all. There are all sorts of universities, there are all sorts of countries that you could have gone to. So I'm interested in knowing that how did you choose which country you're going to go to? I think courses are a bit easier because probably you're looking at your interests and passion and what you want to do in future. And how do you look at which country and especially which universities that you want to do?
So my first criteria for country was that since I've been brought up in a city like Singapore where there's a lot of noise and buzz, I want to go to a country that has the same thing. I want to live in a big city. That was one for the country. And then for the university, what I looked at was something that would sort of encourage me to pursue my varied interests as much as I can. For example, biology and film studies are quite on the other end of the spectrum, but I want to be able to pursue both of them, and I want to be able to pursue my passions there, whatever they may be. So those are the two big criteria I chose.
So is it that because US allows you to choose varied majors, that's why US is on the number one list?
Yeah.
Because biology and film studies are quite on the opposite.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
For countries, I didn't at first. I didn't really have a preference. Like I felt like I could enjoy myself anywhere because I love to travel. So mainly I looked at more major countries where I know some friends who've been there, like who went to study there. And as for majors, I did a lot of research on like ones relating to my interests because even in engineering, there's like many different types, and I think just reading about it and getting an idea of what like day in the life of that major might look like really helps.
Lovely, lovely. So I think what we see from there is tap on your network, talk to your friends, talk to probably your seniors who've gone on to do similar courses as you want to, and then research a lot. I think research is crucial because you've got all the information right in front of you. So read up. Yeah. Okay, great. So we go on to our online friends there. Yes.
Yeah, so regarding the country, I think despite Singapore, so we all live in Singapore, right? And one thing is that I wanted to have a different experience compared to what I've been used to for my entire life. I was born and brought up here in Singapore, so that's one reason I did not apply to Singapore universities, despite Singapore having really good universities, NUS, NTU, SMU, and others. So I applied to the US because, especially for my major, actually both US and UK, for my intended major, econs, and I hope to go to finance in the future. So I think those countries, especially because of cities like New York, Chicago, San Francisco, London, they have very big powerhouses and very big foundations for companies in those industries, which is why I wanted to be in cities or universities which are in close proximity of these large cities. So that's like the main reason why I chose the US and the UK to apply to, as in comparison to any other country.
Yeah. So what we understand is that we look at the end goal as to what we want to do really in future later, and what gives us the maximum opportunities for that. So I think that's one thing to keep in mind while looking at the countries that we're choosing to go to. Okay, lovely. Thank you, Om. Go on to David.
So much like I've lived in Singapore for a really long time, so I did want to leave Singapore. And having been to the UK and the US, I really enjoyed both countries having traveled there. So I did want to study there in the future. I didn't really have a preference, so I just applied to both. And like I do want to pursue something related to finance, perhaps consulting in the future. So I thought perhaps going to the US and widening my perspectives would be a better option.
Right. Lovely, lovely. Now, I think my next question is more to those of you who applied to US, because US is a huge country and it comes with so many kinds of universities. You know, you have public, you have private, you have liberal arts, you have, you have a long list of kinds of universities. So when you're shortlisting, because you can only apply to a specific number, and you also don't want to spread yourself thin applying to too many. So tell me your thought process as to when you were applying, what went through your mind as to, how should I apply to these universities?
So the first thing was it was, I mean, it's an unusual thought, but the first thing for me was like the place around. Like, so for me, like, did I want a city campus? Did I want like a aloof campus? Did I want, what kind of weather did I want? Like East Coast or West Coast? So you said US is so big. So that was my first thought when I came to shortlisting universities. Secondly, as I said, one that encouraged an interdisciplinary major or a double major, so that I could pursue all my passions, and like those 4 years could really be a chance for me to explore what I want to do in my life. And thirdly, of course, does it, because I'm applying for a biology course, does it have a good database of alumni? Does it have good networking connections? Does it have good research facilities that would really allow me to delve into what I'm interested in?
Lovely, lovely. So a lot of thought has gone into it. Good points to it. Yes,
For me, I didn't mainly apply to the US, so I only ended up applying to ones in California, and I actually used to live in California, so I think there was a part of me that wanted to go back.
yeah,
So
yeah, that makes sense. Okay, great. Oh,
Yeah, so for me, actually, it's a good question. So I applied only to, or mainly to universities on the East Coast of the US because of a few reasons. So, number one, I think that, as I mentioned in the previous, for the previous question, New York especially is a very um, financy city, as we know, Wall Street and all. So that's why I wanted universities which are in close proximity to New York. And so that's why finance firms such as maybe investment banks would recruit directly at the universities which I would be attending. Because if you go to somewhere like the Midwest or somewhere on the West Coast, they wouldn't necessarily um, go directly there to recruit because there would be different types of firms going there, right?
yeah.
So that's why I tried to concentrate my applications with universities on the East Coast. And another thing is that I do have quite a few family members that live on the East Coast. So my mom's brother and his family lives right next to Princeton. So it's just nice to have um, friendly faces, family living at somewhere um, like in a completely foreign country where you know nothing, right? So it's just good, like for me, as like a good feeling to know that they're there for me if I need anything and they're not too far away. So that's why I tried to apply in the East Coast.
Amazing. So a lot of thought has gone into it. Right. David.
So for me, I didn't really think of location as something that important. Because I think having lived in a lot of different places, I think it's not that big of a factor for me. So I went for schools that have good econs or business programs, and so um, one of my dream schools was U Chicago. So I did early decision two there, and I got accepted. So I'll be heading there in the summer, in fall. Sorry.
Congratulations.
Thank
Congratulations
you.
on that because it's your dream school. It's a wonderful school too. And you've got an idea on that. So amazing. Amazing. Lovely. Okay. So now let's talk about 2 years that you've spent coming to this point today. So tell me about the highs and the lows, and especially the lows. You know, what was the most challenging time of this period, and how did you cope with it? Yeah. Shall we start with David first this time? Let's do that.
Okay, sure. For me, I think the most difficult thing was writing my Common App activities list, writing my personal statement, writing a lot of the different supplements as I was studying for the IB. And I think one thing that makes us pretty unique is that we followed a Singapore semester and we finished in November. And for that reason, I think it makes it a little bit more challenging for us when we're applying early as compared to regular, although we have the advantage of having more time for regular decision. I think, yeah, the most challenging part was writing my early applications.
Right, right. And how did you cope with it? What did you do to make sure that it doesn't hinder you?
I think what was really important was starting early. So I think doing a lot of research into the different schools that I wanted to apply to, um, making sure that they align with my goals because they need to align with my goals for me to even actually enjoy writing the supplements in the first place. And I think making sure all of those aligned as well with my grades, I think that part was really important.
Very wise words there. I think this has all the information any student can ever need, that you will be faced with challenges, but you have to see what you need to do to make sure that you're able to overcome that challenge. Start early, start your prep as early as possible, and I think you'll be good. Lovely. Yes, Oli.
Yeah, so the hardest part for the past 2 years, I'd say honestly, it's quite similar to David. It's balancing the tightrope of having to navigate US applications and UK applications with the IB. But I think for how I coped, it was having people who are doing the same thing as me. So it was like it gives you a feeling that you're not alone in this. So actually, like many people, everyone in this meeting, actually, I would have like just gone out with them and went to like a Starbucks, went to library, and just do our applications together, do studies together, and it was a very um, tiring thing, but it was also something which just gave me hope, and it was good to know that we're all going through it together. We'll all make it together. We'll all get in together. So I think just having a good network of people who are like-minded, who are doing the same thing as you, going through the same thing as you, is really important during these 2 years.
That's very important to have your support circle, know who's with you, and make sure that you keep them close during these 2 years. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir.
For me, it was nothing like tangible. Like as you said, like as David said as well, like for you can start, like you can do something. Like if you're having to write an essay or a supplemental essay, or you're having to complete coursework, there's something you can do about it. To sort of get over that anxiety or to get over that feeling. But for me, the hardest thing for me was that there's like I don't know the outcome of it. Like for example, I'm doing these applications now and I'm doing something about it and I'm working hard on it. But the state of confusion, the 2 months down the line, where will I be? That state of confusion was actually the most tiring thing for me because it was something that was not in my control. It was in someone else's hands. And I think for me, I'm a natural overthinker. So I think that got to me and occupied my mind much more than coursework or something I can actively do.
Yeah. And how did you cope with that? Because it's not in your hands at all. And how did you?
I have a benefit of having an elder sister who has gone through the same process. So I think just talking about it, and as Om also said, I think if I feel that, then someone else must also feel that. So, and I think it was a mutual feeling between our cohort and the four of us, definitely. So I think talking about it and sort of taking some solace in the fact that it's not an abnormal feeling; it's a very normal feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. So normalize your feelings. Know that what you're going through is nothing out of the world. A lot of people have gone through this before and they've done it beautifully, and so will you. So don't let it overwhelm you. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I will.
For me, I had this constant fear that I would not get into like a single university, and that put a lot of stress on me. And I think what helped me through that is obviously, as they've said, my friends. Like every time me and Advika would hang out, it would turn into a therapy session. And I think I would always tell myself like everything is going to work out.
Yeah.
It's all right. Like it's not possible for me to get into like 0 universities. And I've like gotten some offers now, so I feel like I can confidently say that things do work out. Yeah.
Yeah. Wise words there. Okay, great. So, okay, tell me that what is one thing that you feel that you could have gotten from your family during this time that would have made the process easier for you?
I think I think it's really important to like I think a lot of parents or like a lot of families, when there's something to talk about, is when they approach the child, or when there's something like that really happens in their life. Um, that's when they approach the child. But I think it's important every day, after the parents finish work or after the kids come back from school, to just like sit together around the coffee table or sit together for dinner and just talk about each other's days. Because when you approach the child, or when something large happens, the child feels hesitation to talk about it because he doesn't want to share. The emotions are all in their head, and they don't feel like, and they can't sort of put those emotions into words. But if you have the practice of sitting around together, even for 15 minutes every day, and each of you talking about your day, in that conversation, something a child says, and he might just sort of blurt it out what he's going through. And the parents can sense a sort of stress or a sort of uncertainty or something that the child is going through. Because I think like humans, I think we're very complex. I don't think like if we're asked a straightforward question, we're going to answer just the question, especially when it comes to something like this, like emotions. So I would recommend, like, my parents do that. We still do that, and I would recommend that. I think that's the way for you to approach this sort of college process together as a family. I think that's the best way. That's what worked for me.
Right, right. So,
Yeah. Kind of similar to Advika's point. I feel that sometimes during the application period, all my parents would talk to me about would be about the universities.
Yeah.
And every time I see their face, it's like, okay, so which uni, like, what's going on? And obviously, like, that would not only stress me out even more, but it kind of like made me hesitant to like communicate more about it. So I think definitely what Advika said, like not always talking about university is really important.
right, right. Oh,
Actually, yeah, I would agree with Siri there. So I think I would have liked a little more peace in terms of like the chatter about university stress and all. So I could just do my own thing. But I think it depends from person to person because I'm the type of person to um, like if there's anything I would want to talk about, I would like just bring it up straight away, and then we can talk about it. We can chat about it for hours. But if not, then I'm completely fine if we just go about with our own things, and I'm able to focus on whatever it may be, my studies or the personal statement or whatever. So I think what's important is for the parent to understand their child and what type of person they are, um, and to like act accordingly based on that.
right, right. Okay, David.
I think for me, I think what my parents did really helped. They, um, I think they didn't pressure me at as much. I think they tried to, be a bit more patient. Like for example, uh, like with my IB results, they didn't really come into my room or wake me up. They just waited for me to open it up and then tell them my score. And then for example, for my Chicago acceptance, like I didn't really tell them when the results were coming out because I didn't want to disappoint myself or the rest of my family. But later on, my parents did tell me that they knew that the results were coming out on that day. It's just that they didn't, act like they knew it. So I think that really helped, kind of reduce the stress on my end.
Right, right. Just to give you a perspective from the parent side, because you guys are so busy during your IB years that parents hardly get to see you, because you have your school and then you have all your extracurriculars and then you're busy with your studies. So they feel that we don't spend enough time with you guys. And then whenever they see you, whenever the small window is there, they just want to make sure that you guys are all right and you're moving on the right track, and they want the best for you, at all times. So I know that it may come across as pushy sometimes for you students that, they're always talking to us about applications and which uni. But I guess that's the only window they have and they want to make the best of it. So that's what I know from the parent side. And I want to make sure that that they have your best interests in their minds at all times, and for the parents also to know that our children are wise enough to do what is right for them, and they will be in the right direction. Yeah. Okay. So tell me one thing, all of you all, that you feel that you could have done differently to make this process smoother, either for your own self or as a family with your parents.
Well, something I could have done differently. I think David explained it. I think start early. I think those are the two, like that's the phrase that you should just always keep in your mind when you're in those ideas. Like you have to make sure to start early. And I'm not saying that if you start early, it's going to be a no stress and everything's going to be smooth sailing. It probably won't be, but it's really going to help reduce your stress. Like in your mind, it's really going to help reduce it. And a lot of the times is when you're really stressful, instead of doing the work, you just end up thinking about the stress in your mind rather than actually doing what you have to do.
Right.
So if you start early, it'll help avoid that.
Right. Okay, great, Sarah.
Okay, similar to Abhika's point, I think it helped me create a visual calendar in my head on when I should be doing this application and stuff like that. But also another, like one thing that I think I could have done better is I could have actually communicated better with the people around me, especially my parents, because even though like them pestering me was like really stressful for me, and I just like to do my own thing, I feel like maybe communicating would have helped them help me more, and I think like it would have been less stressful for the whole family, I guess.
Agree. Yes.
One thing I would do differently, I think, would be um, not just starting early, but finishing early. Because I'm the type of person who, yeah, I'll start early, but I always um, leave stuff, even if it's like very minor stuff, like for example, the administrative details before you send the application. I'll always leave something till the end. So while most of the stress is still out of the way, I still haven't clicked that submit button. I haven't submitted my application. And so there's still something at the back of my mind, which is stressing me out, even though technically I've already done the task of writing my application or something like that. So one thing I do differently is to start early and finish my things, whether it be like IAs or the uni applications or anything. early enough, such that I clear everything by well before the deadline, and that I don't have to face any stress on the uh, day of the deadline or anything of that sort.
Very wise words. Yes, David.
I think one thing I learned throughout my process, and one thing I maybe would have done differently earlier is um, like I think university applications and managing IB was really stressful for me, and um, I think I would have taken more time to rest in the middle because I did realize that the essays that I wrote, um, because for the US essays, you have to be a bit more personal and you have to really think of how to make your personality and yourself unique. But I think the essays that I wrote when I was done with IB and I had a clear headspace were a lot deeper and better than the ones that I wrote when I was chasing myself for the deadlines. So I think it would be good if you, like they said, I guess maybe if you start early, then you won't be very stressed. Yeah.
Right, right. I think that's perfect advice. That do all your work, do it on time, research early, finish early, and then make sure that you're resting enough. Make sure that you have periods of relaxation so that you don't get burned out. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. Now that your efforts have started to bear fruits, you started to get offers. So tell me what's going on in your minds and what is your thought process? How are you choosing among these various offers?
Okay, so I haven't made a decision at all. I'm waiting till May till I have to make the decision. Maybe I should take my own advice and start early. But yeah, I haven't made a decision yet. I do have a couple of choices. And as I said, like the one thing that there's going to be enough people reminding you about checking about your course, about the brand of the uni, if that's something you prioritize. um, I would say how I'm looking at it is now that I've gotten the offers, how I've started looking at it is where do I want to spend the next 4 years of my life at? Like where do I really want to, and where will I sort of discover myself, and at the same time enjoy that process? Because I've grown up in one place. Where do I get to sort of explore myself and diversify, my interests and gain opportunities? I think that's how I've started looking at it. So I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of where do I want to live for the next 4 years?
Right. And how do you manage the expectations of the family in all this? Just give me a brief outline of how do you all move ahead with the family, because the parents may have little different expectations because they may want a brand name for you, you may not. I mean, there can be different conflicts there. So how do you manage that?
I would say, so what we did was, and I communicated this to my parents that I'm looking at as where I want to live for the next 4 years. And they're obviously, they all also have like financial, sort of a financial perspective, and like they're looking at the brand name of the uni as well. And obviously we come at it from different perspectives. I think that's right. So what we did was we made a table. I listed all the unis that I got into, if I'm getting any financial aid, what are the rankings of the uni, just put together statistics, put together facts on a table. And then once you look at the statistics and facts, just sit together as a family and discuss, because obviously there's much more, there's like emotions involved also. So like once you put the facts on paper, like pen to paper, sit together as a family and discuss like what are the priorities, what are their priorities, what are my priorities, and how can we meet in the middle and come to a decision.
Right. Perfectly expressed. Yes, Sarah.
For me, I've first of all, I think it's important for me to um prioritize the unis that I wanted from the start. So, for example, if I applied to some safeties and I got in, obviously that wouldn't be my first choice. And within the unis that I wanted, I think location is very important. For example, the UK, I'm very keen on going there since I've never lived there before. I think it's important to explore like, somewhere new. But also with the financial thing, like I would have to consider scholarships and everything. Um, yeah, and I think it's through the process. It's important for me to communicate with my family because it's not just I can just go anywhere I want. Like there's somebody that has to pay for it, and yeah.
Right. And I'm so glad you guys are bringing up the financial side of it because that's a very important and critical side of college admissions. And that is where we have to move together as families. You know, you just can't imagine I'm going to this university, and even if you get in, then you know who's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you know you have so logical way of thinking towards it and making sure that it's not a constraint when we go into the college. Well, okay, yes,
Yeah, so as for making decisions, I think one big criteria um, for me is whether the university has a pipeline for students to get into roles in the finance industry, because I think finance is something which is not it's not one of the most difficult subjects to learn. So actually, the education that you get will be um, almost the same at any university, from what I understand. But the difference is the network, the people you meet, and whether the network and connections you get are strong enough to land you at a good job in the after you pass out. So that's what I've been trying to find out over the past few weeks and months, whether the universities that I get into do have sufficient resources for that. And once again, as Siri mentioned, I think it's good to consider finances. So I did get into Cambridge with a scholarship, so that's why it's definitely higher up on my list because yeah, I think any way to lower those fees and help out on the financial side um, should be done as a student. So it's my responsibility to make sure that I don't put too much pressure on my parents as well. Like I believe. So yeah.
amazing, amazing thought process. Okay, David.
Well, I think for me, I I only applied to schools that like I wouldn't really mind going to. I only applied to schools that I really liked. So I think that's important. I think any school that you apply to, you should really enjoy. You should really think that you're going to enjoy your time there because you really never know with college admissions. So I mean, for me, it kind of simplified things when I got an early decision to Chicago. So I had a few other acceptances, but um, you know, it was my top school. So I think that really simplified things. But for students that um, have options and only applied regular, for example, I think again, like I mentioned, it's just important to apply to schools that you really like.
Yeah, yeah, correct. So that's amazing to hear, David. I think we get a lot of golden nuggets on this podcast. Yeah,
If I could just say another thing about the finance, the way that I look at it, and obviously my parents and I had this discussion. The way I look at sort of financial aid when you're considering schools that are giving you financial aid, I think it's also good to look at it as a perspective from like a long-term plan. I mean, that money can be used maybe if you choose to pursue a master's, maybe if you want to be an entrepreneur. I mean, those are my plans in the future. I mean, it's a long way ahead, but that's the way I look at my future. And so you can try to look at it from that perspective as well, like as a larger picture. It really helps you out in the long term. So yeah, I definitely think you should look at financial aid through that lens as well.
Lovely. Okay, so just a quick round now. Tell me, if you had to give advice to the other students now who are coming up for the next cycle or the next few cycles, a short advice that you think is the most important, only one, maybe 3 words, max 5 words. As short as possible, just one. So let's start with you.
This is really like hard, and it's very rich coming from me. But I would say truly like enjoy the process, enjoy it.
Lovely. So
It will be okay.
nice. Okay.
Another thing, as cliche as it is, I think I'd say just do your best.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, David.
Again, stay less stressed, I guess. Yeah, chill out.
Yeah. Okay, great. So now I'm going to turn it around. I want you to give advice to the parents.
Okay.
The same way, in as less words as possible.
I would say savor it. Like your kids are only going to be at this stage once in your life, so savor the process. Be with them.
Okay. Lovely.
We will be okay.
Yeah, good one. Oh,
Yeah, I think don't overstress.
right. Okay.
Don't overthink the process.
Right. Okay, great. So I think we have quite a lot of golden nuggets with us and a lot of food to chew upon as to how we can make it better for the college admission days. Lovely. I wish you all the best. I know you still have offers coming in and still some interviews going on too. So all the best to you. You have an interview coming up.